All right, we are live. Welcome, Chris Moses. I am so happy to have you here as an esteemed member of our Facebook group, our private Facebook group, B2B CEO Society, and as a series of interviews with B2B CEOs, very important people like us, like Chris. We are kicking off our interview series in preparation for our launch for our B2B Elevator Pitches Bootcamp. Welcome, Chris. Tell us what you do and who you help.
Fabulous. Well, thank you very much for having me on. This is my first ever live interview. This is fabulous. This is high technology. And I've seen the other videos that the other people have done wonderful jobs. I've enjoyed everything that's on the webpage. A lot of good information. So what I do is I run a company called HR Sanity. We do fractional human resource work, generally for larger companies with thousands of employees. And they use our services to do a lot of data analytics, digging into the data on what's really going on in the organization. A lot of companies, they sell a product, let's say a soda, and they, well, that's what we do. We sell a soda. Really, they don't do that's not what they do. They employ a workforce of all types of people, and it's a huge investment. 30 to 40% of their revenue goes towards that investment. What are you getting for that investment? And we spend a lot of time helping them identify what they get for that investment, designing bonus plans to get more for that investment, or doing some analysis, which is called span of control, to make sure that the decision trees and how flat the organization is, so you can get great ideas to the top as fast as possible. Because as everybody says, time is money. And if you have a great idea at the bottom of the organization, and it has to go through 15 layers to get to the top, you might have a problem. So your competitors are going to take that product.
Mm-hmm. So tell me about what's the most expensive problem you've solved?
The most expensive organizations with thousands of employees have is with their span of control. You have so many people that you can hide bad employment or bad employees or bad managers. And you see this, it's funny to think about it. Like, will somebody really do that? But I think just as humans, we have a hard time delivering bad news. So instead of saying, look, we need to free you up so you can find some joy somewhere else, we're going to bury you in the organization and have a 1-over-1 manager relationship. So the manager's not really managing anything. They're just rolling over things they don't want to work on to the next person who doesn't want to be there anyways. And these are discussions that people need to have. And then there's another one that I talk to my clients about a lot is friendship is probably the most expensive thing in the company.
Wow.
Friendship with your vendors, because you get comfortable with the vendors, and then you don't RFP out for new vendors. It's like, well, Jake's my friend. He's been my broker for 10 years. Well, maybe Jake's not the best deal in town anymore. And I've gone to different organizations where we'll look at their benefit programs and realize that their broker is charging quite a bit above market levels, and they save hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, just by changing the broker, and it doesn't impact their product line. So that friendship with Jake is costing your company. And he's like, well, he wouldn't do anything bad to me, and he wouldn't. Your brokers, your friends, they're taking care of you. But it's really looking at the data to make sure that you're getting the best value for an acceptable cost, and it's their lowest cost, and being able to provide for your company and your customers.
Oh, those are good ones. I mean, did you used to work for a corporation, by the way?
I've worked for many. I've worked for a lot of the big ones. I've worked. I started my career at Walmart. I've done a lot of retail, 7-Eleven, Home Depot. Went to the chemical industry. I worked for Albemarle. One of my clients right now is a big chemical company called Chemours, lovely company up in Wilmington, Delaware. We've done work for Corning Incorporated, L3, all with thousands of people. I think Corning has 100,000 people, and L3 has about 70,000. So we come in when we help. A lot of times when you have these big companies and somebody leaves, and these teams are small, so your compensation team is very small, and you have to pay a bonus in 2 weeks, and nobody's there to understand the system, you still need to pay that bonus.
Yeah.
So then they'll call us up, and we'll come in, we'll help out and make sure the thing gets paid accurately and timely, and make sure they don't miss a beat. Because you miss a beat, you see, let's say you mispay 1,000 people, that'll shut down your company. They're going to wasted time. Everybody complaining about their bonus, and that's where HR ends up negatively impacting the organization with bad payments, bad accuracy, bad taking care of the internal clients.
Yeah, HR gets such a bad rap. I mean, I was lucky enough to work for like Pepsi, Pizza Hut, Frito-Lay. Like they take care of their people. But at the end of the day, you still have to recognize that HR is a function that protects the company more than anything else, right?
It does. And if it's done correctly, then your company runs wonderfully. And I mean, I wasn't going to put any plugs up, but let me give a plug for Susan Kelleher. She's the chief HR officer over at Chemours. Does a fabulous job with HR, with the statistics, how the performance is, are the people in the right roles, are we paying the right amount of money, and she keeps that thing humming really well. Mm-hmm. And then you read online about like data privacy. HR loses all the employees' W-2s. Well, now you've shut down the company because employees are now afraid of their W-2s. They're afraid of all kinds of things. You have to pay for people's lost information, and then you have to pay legal fees. And the one thing with my clients, I always talk, when I talk to CEOs, they sometimes will ask, what's one thing I should do right now? I said, go send your payroll manager an email and say you want all the W-2s and see if they respond. Yeah. If they respond, there's a training issue in your company. They should not respond. They should think it's a spam. Why would the CEO want all this stuff? But sometimes they do. Sometimes they'll say, okay, which ones do you want? Here they are. So that for anybody who's listening, if you have a CEO friend or a head of HR, challenge them. Send it to the payroll people. I need all the social security numbers and W-2s of everybody.
Tomorrow there's going to be a thread of people who've watched the replay of this. You're going to be getting hate mail.
Yeah, and the one thing, let me just add one other thing to this. I hope I don't monopolize the conversation here, is the training that goes with it. You need to train your employees not to be afraid to talk to those CEOs. So if an email comes, they're like, oh no, it's a CEO, I better give it to them. Instead of, this doesn't sound like something the CEO would do, let me call the CEO.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, fear breeds accidents, and bad ones.
Yeah. In so many ways, for sure. Okay, so let me ask you this. I mean, you have so much value to offer this group. We're so excited that you're joining, and I don't even know how you found us. I'm so grateful that you found us. But I think it was a Facebook ad you said, right?
It was your Facebook ad. It was a business to business, and I think for a lot of businesses, we struggle on that. I'm an HR guy. I'm not a salesperson. I could talk all day about HR. You want me to talk to you about business? Okay, well, let's talk HR first. It's just that connectivity. And I think one thing I look forward to learning about through the group is, how do other people do this in a successful manner? Right. How I connect to a decision maker is different than somebody else, and everybody's different. But could I learn something from these different conversations to help my business or help somebody else's business? That's
great. So, and you've signed up for the boot camp, which is starting on the 13th. And, we're going to be meeting every night at 8 o'clock. I'm in Eastern. I don't know. Where are you?
On the 13th, I'll be Central. I'll be in Chicago that day, but I should be available at 8.
Right, exactly. So we're starting on the 13th, and it goes for like 5 days, and then there's 4 days of bonus training. So what specifically, and I know you said, you want to see models of how others are doing it, but what specific content would help you on those bonuses?
So when I think of training, a lot of the training that I've seen throughout my career is, here's what you do. Here's how you do it. I find that I learn a lot more sometimes by learning what not to do and how that impacted your business. How I did this, and boy, was that a bad idea. Okay. Because then you can say, okay, you did this was a bad idea. Well, how did you turn to a good idea? And then you understand the whole story instead of why is this, you just give me all the good ideas. Well, how did they become good ideas? You don't know the baggage behind it. And it's like every successful executive or CEO, you talk to them and they're like, well, I can tell you 50 times I did things wrong. 50% of the decisions were not the best. Mm-hmm. They make great decisions, but those bad decisions help them make the good ones. So if we understood more about the bad things, would that help us make better good ones?
So thank you for saying that, because of these interviews that I'm doing, I'm getting such good feedback. So what we're going to do is, and now you've just reinforced what we were going to do. We're going to add a bonus Zoom call where everyone's going to be hopping on the Zoom call, and everyone's going to get to do their elevator pitch. And then I'm going to polish them right there on the spot.
Good.
All right. Okay. Yeah, that is great. So for those of you who have not signed in yet, register at repositioner.com/bootcamp. It's free. It's a long one. It's 5 days plus 4 days of bonus. It's like the whole week. We're going to become related. And Chris, do you have something to offer our viewers? And here, I'm going to turn this on. Tell us how they can reach you and what goodies you have for them.
Well, we have a book that we hand out to clients, and we send it through a website anonymously if you want to do that. But I'll give it to anybody who's interested. It came out a little while ago. It's called The Sanity Game.
Nice.
Cut the crap that drives employees crazy.
Love it.
And the genesis of the book is through all the experiences that we've had with folks being in HR. We go to these companies, or I've worked at different companies, and you just sit there and you see some of these behaviors that just decrease the value of the organization, slow down productivity, shut off communication, and you sit there scratching your head. Why are you doing this? But part of the reason is maybe they don't know. Yeah. And when we started this book and we wrote it, we had it. We had these reading sessions at the office that I was sharing with you today. The reading sessions. Everybody who read the book would say, I know somebody who needs this book, who should read this book. Mm-hmm. Like, well, great. Would you give it to them? And the answer was no. I'm afraid to give it to them. So we said, well, what about if I sent it? Didn't tell them it came from you. And everybody loved that idea. So at the website, it's thesanitygame.com. You can go on and anonymously send it to anybody. We sent out over 400 books to different leaders around the globe and I'm guessing they're not the best leaders. Their Glassdoor ratings seem to be low, but at least the book's getting out. So it's a fun book to read. It's not super businessy. It's more conversational, and it has some very laughable stories of what goes on. And some people say, "Oh yeah, I've been there. I've had exact same story." Yeah, you're not alone. I guess is the thing.
I know. I love teaching through stories. So thank you. That is great. I'm totally going to sign up for one.
Yeah, so send a mailing address if you'd like this book. I see at the bottom it says relief@hrsanity.com. You need to, if you email me to that email address, we'll put a book in the mail for you. But need a physical address, so it's not electronic.
Well, I'm in Canada, so I'm not sure it's going to get up here yet. Our borders are still closed to you guys.
Oh, well, I've sent some to Canada.
Oh, good.
2.5 weeks.
Oh, very nice. Oh, just longer. Exactly. Well, thank you so much, Chris. This has been such a pleasure. How was your first experience? Did it hurt?
This was fun. I enjoyed it. We should do this again sometime. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we can and we will. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I look forward to boot camp and everything else.
All the best.
All the best. Bye-bye.
Everyone.